What's going on YouTube, and welcome back to the channel. This is your boy Sean coming at you with a quick video of about 4 stories that are currently going on right now. So let's just jump right on into it. We are only 12 days into April, and April is already given a bunch of nonsense. So what are we talking about? Let's just talk about the first story. It was a couple who complained about a room attendant basically just busting into the room and acting as if nothing happened. So let's just add a little bit of context. So what really happened was, we all know the snoozing signs that go on the cabin doors. But what happened is they left that sign up for more than 24 hours. And so as a safety precaution, the cruise line will make every attempt to make contact. How many of you have been on a cruise and you always see the room stewards in the hallway? We always do. So here's the thing. This particular couple must not have been in an area to where their room steward had seen them in 24 hours. So as a safety precaution, after 24 hours had elapsed with that sign still on the door, they came with a floor supervisor and knocked on that door and proceeded to come inside as a safety and welfare check. So you have to understand that, like, just putting a post out saying that someone busted in your room unauthorized is kind of misleading, especially when you didn't really put the proper context and just made it seem like that steward did not do anything and just came inside. So just realize that on the cruise line's part, they're well aware that some passengers may have a medical emergency or anything could happen. So once again, as a safety measure, if that sign is up for too long and it hasn't been removed and there's probably no cleaning of the rooms or changing of the towels and washcloths and things of that nature, they're going to come in and do a check and make sure that everything is okay inside of that state cabin. So I don't want to stay on this story too long because it's not worthy of too much praise, but once again, that is a safety feature and the thing that I wanted to let you all know. I'm not sure about every cruise line, but I know for sure for Carnival, they do have a 24-hour limit to where if that snoozing sign is left on your door, they will try to make entry into your room by obviously knocking and coming with a floor supervisor to check and make sure that you're all right. Coming in at number 2, we're going to be talking about Levan Parker, and hopefully I didn't butcher that name too wrong. Basically on April the 4th, he was on the Royal Caribbean cruise ship, and I'm assuming that this passenger got a little bit too drunk, ended up having an argument with his father about why he was so inebriated. And basically, I guess as a gesture to his father complaining about the state of how he was on that ship, he decided to say, well, I'll fix this, and proceeded to jump out of the window and into the sea from the 11th floor. Now, the particular ship that they were on was 18 floors. So I would just imagine jumping from 11 stories up and hitting that water is actually, it's going to be pretty painful. And you also have to understand that, in my opinion anyways, if you want to throw yourself over the railing, you really have to make a really good attempt to do that. It's just not as easy as you think. I mean, yeah, you can get up there and jump, but I'm not really sure as far as how the side railing is set up on Royal, but I know as far as Carnival, even after the railing, you do have a smaller metal railing that I have seen on the side of the ships. And maybe that's not the correct thing for all of the ships, but anyhow, once again, so he jumps into this water, not really sure of what the water temperature will be, not really sure of the impact that it made, but they did throw out several flotation devices to try and get him to retrieve those. It was unsuccessful. Crews came out immediately, but I believe it took about 20 minutes for that ship just to be able to stop before they could actually try to release some of those lifeboats that were actually on the cruise ship to actually do a little search and rescue before some of the bigger parties came in to do that. So basically, now the father is extremely upset because, according to him, he says they don't drink. So for his son even being 20 years old and knowing that the actual age limit of drinking on the Carnival cruise or any particular cruise that leaves out of the US is 21 years of age, who was feeding him the alcohol? So was it friends? Was it anyone else? Now, once again, I can really only speak for Carnival, and I know they were on Royal Caribbean, but I do know that, for instance, on Carnival, if one person in the room gets the drink package, everybody has to get it. So maybe in the comments below, you guys that have been on Royal Caribbean can educate me as far as what the drinking requirements are on Royal. But once again, who is feeding this young fella the drinks? And on top of that, how did he get so many to even be to the point to where, once again, he was that inebriated to where he couldn't really, function, I guess, correctly, as far as for his father to have to even get onto him like that. So once again, he jumped into this water. His father said that he said a prayer for him. And, the Coast Guards, they have actually called off that search as of last weekend. But I'm pretty sure the parents maybe are probably doing something privately to try and see if they can backtrack and find anything. Now, the father does say that he believes that his child is still alive because he was a skilled diver. And I believe he was saying that he was commercially a diver on a commercial boat. So once again, I'm not really sure of the status, but I don't believe that someone could survive that long, especially since it's been since the 4th. And here we are on the 12th of April at this point. So I'm not really sure, but this is one thing that I do know. Cruise ships at some point in time are gonna start addressing this issue. And it's not gonna really be fun for those of us who love to go to the railing and kind of just look over and see the seas. The next time that you get on a cruise ship, who knows, maybe they will start installing glass completely around the cruise ship that is so high that it just makes it kind of pointless to even go to the banister and look out. So, we don't want that. So, the thing is if you have someone that, they love to drink, we just have to be a little bit more mindful. We have to make sure that I don't want to say babysit, but we have to let them know, like, hey, if this is what you're going to do, this is going to be the limit, and you're going to actually be inside and definitely not outside. Because from what I believe, he was in the hot tub prior to this incident happening. So they were already probably out on the deck, obviously where the railing would be. So it just made it a little bit more easier for him to access that in the moment of being frustrated with his father fussing at him. And so even if this young man is alive somewhere, or if he's lost, my hearts go out to that family, just because, for one, it was a tragedy to where that father didn't even think that, a simple, getting onto his son about being overly drunk would result in that type of action. So I just wanted to say my hearts go out to the family once again. And if you travel with people that that are heavy drinkers, please make sure that you get them to the room safely. Make sure that you know what their limits are, and make sure that you're not afraid to cut them off or ask the bartenders to cut them off at that point. All right. Coming in at number 3, we're going to be talking about Edward Solomon III from South Carolina. So on April the 3rd, him and his wife were traveling. I'm not exactly sure their entire itinerary, but I do know that he was celebrating his 66th birthday. They had went to a port stop in Cozumel, in which they both got off. As all of us know, that when you go on a cruise and you get off at the port, most of the time we try to stop at the restroom that's outside of the port if we haven't already used it inside the cruise ship. So what happened is they both went into the restrooms. She came out and he was gone. So it turns out that Mr. Solomon has dementia. So we all know what comes with that: memory loss, confusion, hallucination. There can be a whole lot of different symptoms that come with having dementia, depending on the different stages. I'm not sure what stage of dementia he was in, but I will say that, I just feel like, especially with the wife already knowing that that was the condition, that at least maybe she could have waited for him to come out of the restroom, or maybe they could have found a family restroom. I'm not even sure if there was one available, but basically, once again, they both came out of the restroom, and when she came out, she had noticed that he had not came out yet, or so she thought. But really, what she thought, as far as him being inside of the restroom still, happened to not be true. He had already came out and already had went about his way. I'm not really sure why he didn't look or wait for his wife. I'm not really sure. Maybe he thought that she was somewhere else, or maybe he just thought that he was gonna just step away for a second to maybe a vendor or something. I'm not really sure. But all I do know is they have been unable to locate him since April the 3rd. And so I wanted to read some of the notes here, just so that I don't get them wrong. I know they have had several leads that have turned up to be nothing. They have done flyover searches, ground searches with the dogs and some of the harder to reach areas, and still have not been able to find Mr. Edmund. Also, the things that the family wants you guys to look for is, they said the dad walks really fast and he does not have his eyeglasses like he normally would have. Also, they said that when he is nervous or anxious, he tends to walk a little faster. So also, he will most likely refuse help from other people if they approach him. And the family just kind of wants to make this story a little bit more aware. They don't want this story to get buried, even though this story has already been out. It's already been talked about from other bloggers, vloggers, different things of that nature. It's still never too late to spread the information again. And there is a Facebook group in which they have some of this information up. It is called Missing Persons of America. And it is a Facebook group, once again, where they actually have different mugshots of different people that may be missing right now. And so we just wanted to make sure that we are doing our part on this channel to spread the word, spread a little bit of awareness, so that we can help hopefully locate Mr. Edmund. Hopefully he is just somewhere confused but still safe, regardless of the situation. And so we just want the best for him and his family, and we hope that they make it back home safely. Coming in at number 4, last but not least, let's talk about this mother. Do we call her a mother? What do we call her? Leesa Williams, 29, from Houston, Texas, left her children at home alone while she goes on a cruise. Now, the children were an 8-year-old boy and a 6-year-old little girl. Now, I have smaller children, and I know different people parent differently, but come on, you're really gonna go on a whole entire cruise and leave your children at home? So she goes on this cruise on April the 4th, comes out of her, her living area with her luggage or whatever. Neighbors notice that she's just walking up out of there, not even taking the children. And so I'm not really sure what happened as far as the delay in which authorities were contacted and did a safety check or welfare check, safety and welfare check at the house. But whatever the case is, they didn't end up doing that until April the 9th. Keep in mind, this cruise did not end until April the 10th. And so what happened is, once again, she went on this cruise. And here's the crazy part about it. This chick set up a webcam and a telephone to try and reach her children and check on them while she's partying on the boat. Now, come on. Like, what are we doing here? Like, I'm not exactly sure which cruise line she went on, but I literally just posted a video about the kids camp. Now, unless she was on Virgin Voyages, I know for sure that's 18 plus. So I'm not really sure, once again, which cruise line she went on, but come on. You have to set up some kind of babysitter, sitting arrangement, something. You cannot literally leave a webcam and a telephone and just hope that your children are going to be cool with you trying to check in. Like, what happens if the Wi-Fi goes down at the house or on the boat? What happens if the devices go dead? Like, what is going to happen? Now, I know in Florida and in different places, there's really no age limit in which they say that you can leave your children at home unsupervised. They so-called deem it whatever's responsible. And so just because you feel like your children are responsible, come on, I promise you they're not that responsible at 8 and 6 years old to be taking care of themselves. And so what happened is once again, she went on this cruise on April the 4th. On April the 9th, the Authorities went to the apartment to make that safety and welfare check, found the children. The children let them know that she was on vacation. When the police actually came inside the residence, it smelled like nothing but a lot of urine, trash everywhere, food everywhere.
These children were definitely left unattended for many days and put in serious harm's way.
Williams is charged with abandoning her children with intent to return. Deputies did find a web camera and cell phone that the children said their mother used to check in on them. Is that sufficient?
Absolutely not.
Thankfully, the children were healthy and fine, but still, that was a classic sign that they didn't know how to take care of themselves at all, let alone an 8-year-old watching a 6-year-old. I mean, come on, we already know how busy they are all the time, moving around, needy. So how does she expect that? And the children also let them know that this is something that she normally sets up when she's gone. So there's no telling how many trips she's been on, how many times she's just out and about. I don't want to say she's clubbing or other things. I don't know what she does. But come on, you cannot be that irresponsible to leave children that young home alone while you're on a whole vacation. Like there was literally another cruise story that was out there a while back about a lady who did that and went on a cruise and I believe left her little small baby, and the baby had passed away when she got back, all for wanting to go on a trip. Like, it's definitely not worth it. So the children were turned over to an aunt of the family, and she has been charged. And the charge was abandoning with the intent to return. So although that she didn't have the intent to not return, I guess they said, oh, well, she set it up, so she planned on coming back. But even still, in the state of Texas, it is still a felony charge, and it still carries a maximum of 2 years in prison. So we shall see what happens with this story. I mean, once again, this is just 2 days shy from where we are today. She got back on her sailing on the 10th. And of course, what did she do when she got home and the authorities were there? She lied and said that she was someone else. So I'm surprised they didn't hit her with that charge as well, with, trying to interfere by lying and false identification or whatever. But anyhow, once again, parents, if you are going on these trips and you do not have adequate childcare, just don't go. Like, literally, do you really think that this little vacation that she went on is going to be worth what's happening now? Guaranteed kids are going to be taken from the home, regardless of how much time it takes. But I guarantee you it really wasn't worth it. And so I just wanted to bring you guys these quick 4 stories. Oh, let me tell you one last thing. In one of my other videos, and I can't remember exactly which one it was, I had talked about the Carnival Cruise was offering the premium Wi-Fi for families. Well, what I found out is they are only offering that on the Carnival Celebration. That is the only ship that it is being offered on. So that is the reason why, if any of you are sailing and you're looking for that family Wi-Fi package, which saves you a little bit of money off of equipping 4 devices versus 1 individually, that's the reason why you can't find it, because it only exists on sailings that go on the ship with Celebration. So once again, just wanted to bring you that last little tidbit tip, and we will see you guys the next time. So y'all be safe out here in April. All right, peace.